For this one, we're good with
All
that.
right,
So it's being live streamed. Got it.
okay. Got it. And then I can even try to see here.
To make sure that it's actually going.
Yeah.
This one, we're good with
All
that.
right,
So it's being live streamed. Got it.
okay.
Good. Okay.
All good.
And now I just need to. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started just now, so please grab a seat. All right. I think we may be set, and we are also live on YouTube. Holy cow. And that is also what we will be doing for the rest of the week, so Raphael is sort of the test case. Welcome to the book launch event here at ICCC 23. We are delighted to have Rafael Perez, and Rafael is going to tell us about his new book. And I'm going to make this window go away, and we'll pass it over to Rafael. So Rafael's book is An Introduction to Narrative Generators. It's being published next month. It's co-authored with Mike Sharples, and it's being published by Oxford.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here to share this with you, with this community that I really love. So, those change.
Try again.
I presented this slide last year. Last year in Gonzalo, I had the opportunity to introduce the first group, Story Machines. And that year I was explaining that this was a project that my champions and myself made. And from the beginning, we always thought foolish books. So last year, as I said, I introduced Story Machines, and I promised that hopefully this year I was going to be able to introduce the second book. And yes, we are. And I would like to talk about this book. Just really, I wrote this with Mike Sharples, who is an professor of education and technology, and he was an English supervisor when I studied at University, my PhD. After I got my degree in good friends, and we have been in contact with the shares, and that's how this project the other out. So I want to just give you a brief summary how this idea began. So in 2001, Mike and I thought writing a book that we would call Scientific Computer-Based Storytellers, because we have 150 versions, and it was going to be ready on 2002. So for different reasons, we were not able to achieve this goal. But in 2004, we published an article called 3 Computer-Based Mode of Storytelling for and that was very useful for us because it was like kind of test of the kind of book we wanted to write. So it was like a prototype of the book. Then many years passed, and in 2017, we were in Mexico. I was in Mexico, and we started to talk again about the idea of writing the book. This book, we agreed that as soon as we finish on our current commitments, we will start to work in this book. So finally, in 2019, we were, I remember well, at my channel's kitchen in London, and we then decided it was time to start. We made a plan, and finally, we were able to work in this project. And now, in a few days more, the 5th of July, we will be published. So as you see, it has been a long road. The first idea was these days. That's the reason I'm really happy to share this with you. So these are the general characteristics of the book. We want to have an accessible examination of the topic. This topic, you know, very hot nowadays. And we also wanted to write books for an interdisciplinary audience. For us, that was very, very important. We have found that there are a lot of books about this topic, or there are very, very specialized for people with a lot of background in computer science, or they are very shallow, they don't really say anything. So we were interested in pushing that direction. And so I was telling you that when we published the paper in 2004, we realized that there were not really a lot of material describing and comparing this kind of methodologies and programs. So we thought it was important. So the book has 14 chapters. I briefly, very briefly, will explain the topics of them, but I just want to tell you that some of them are organized as a block. So, for example, in chapter 2, 4, and 5, talk about problem solving. Chapters 6 and 7 talk about planning. 8, 9, and 10 talk about statistical methods. Basically, 8 and 9 are used to real introduction to chapter 10. And finally, we have chapters 12 and 13 that describe other approaches to story generation, different to the ones we studied. So let me then go chapter by chapter to tell you what it's about. So chapter 1, of course, is the introduction. We start talking about the methods of now. You know, it's so important for social skills, for cognitive skills. We describe different studies about that. Conceptualization, this idea of the rhetoric that they propose for recursive studies, that human language evolved from storytelling. So first was storytelling, this necessity to tell you what was going on, and from that language evolved. And like this, there are other theories that we discussed at the beginning of the book. Then we asked, why develop computer models of narrative generation? So basically, because computers provide a means to test our hypotheses and our theories about generation as narratives. So we can think of them as tools for reflection on ideas. For me, that's like the keyword or the key phrase. They are tools where we can reflect and challenge our deepest ideas. So you can, in these computer models, you can either use a theory, you know, that you are in testing, or you can use your own ideas. There are lots of different possibilities, and that you can try in the computer model. And the last question in the first chapter, why write book about automatic narrative generation? Well, I mentioned a little bit about this earlier. Most available books in artificial intelligence are either specialized, usually designed for people with a lot of background in computer science, or executive in general. So really, it's very important to provide this knowledge to people who are interested in understand how it's going on, but not necessarily have all these computer science knowledge. So we well, this part of the material is designed for leaders who don't have computers, but nevertheless, to understand the core process of underlying this system. So we refer to this phenomenon as the artificial intelligence knowledge gap. So we are interested to feel that gap. We believe it's very important because we are very critical society about the things that are happening with artificial intelligence. So, you provide this knowledge to know the second thing, so we will touch. Okay, so in chapter 2, it's about templates. We describe what a template is. We provide a lot of examples in all the book for the different techniques, probably the simplest. We explain how we can make templates be more flexible. So that's what we do here. We provide, we show also examples for different outcomes. And all chapters always finish with this section, final remarks about, where we reflect about what we have been studying during the chapter. So then the block of problem solving gone, chapter 3, 4, and 5. So basically the idea of problem solving is for years, the study of human study, the study of how humans solve problems has taken the attention of research from different areas, psychology, pedagogy, cognitive science, and so on. Artificial intelligence, of course, is one of these areas. And much of the work in this area is based on the idea that cognition always pursues an end. That is, we always trying to reach goals and therefore finding ways to avoid these situations that prevent achieving those goals. That's the basic idea. So we can apply this concept to narrative generation. Because in tales, we always find protagonists attempting to achieve a goal and antagonists creating antagonists that get in the way of this protagonist. So this main idea fits very well with the idea of generating narratives using this technique. So a computer-generated story will be defined as the narration of the sequences of story action that characters perform to solve a story problem to achieve a story. So this is the basic idea. In chapter 3, we introduce what I have just said is concept of problem solving. We established the characteristics of narrative generators based on problem solving. And of course, we provide examples, and we have the final remarks about introduction of problem solving. In chapter 4, the second part of the block, we introduce a methodology we developed to produce a narrative generator based on problem solving. This part, and we explain how to define the characteristics of the story world, the characters, the goals, characters, the story actions, and provide some examples. And of course, we have the final remarks. And finally, we can practice all the things we learned in chapter 3 and 4, and we create a story about that. And we end the whole section problem solving, explaining the details of very famous program called TELEX. So we can see in a real program has been very famous in the area, how all these content are used and are employed. Okay, then we go to the second part, which is planning. It involves two chapters, chapter 6 and chapter 7. Planning, I will explain a little bit about that. Storytellers based on character stories sometimes produce from the start of the past. So imagine this tale that starts with this problem of Bruce in fire. That's the problem. So a storyteller based on character goals can easily generate this story. Bruce was tired, he wanted to sleep, the end. So it's only the problem is solved. So that makes evident that is not enough to have character story. We also need to have author story. So we complement and expand the notion learned in the previous chapter about the story, how storytellers employ these characters' goals to find the goals. An author goal is a computer representation of a goal of a human character. That's the idea. To represent that. No? There are several types of goals. Maybe the most basic author goal is that of illustrating a theme. No, but there are others like creating a flashback or creating a suspense and so on. So there are so that's the general idea. That's what we display in this first part. Then we start on again to develop an example step by step how to create a story using or developing some specific theme as an outcome goal. And we end to final remarks as usual. And in chapter 7, we introduce two new topics. One is how the knowledge of the writer can be used to knowledge if there is listener, and how to represent flashback and suspense, no? As an outcome as well. And we end the chapter illustrating all this concept with one of my favorite programs called Minster that writes stories about the King Arthur. So here we analyze all these ideas. Okay, then we pass to this following block, statistical methods, which has chapter 8, 9, and 10. So as I said before, the idea of chapter 8 and 9 is to work as an introduction to the chapter of deep neural networks. So let me explain a little bit what is the chapter. So in chapter 8, we basically studied Markov chains, and we use as an example to produce different concepts a story written by Oscar Wilde, The Devoted Friend. So concept like probabilistic distribution and introduced here. And also the concept of patterns in text, how we can use to produce more elaborated text. And of course, we provide examples of this, put in practice the concepts we have introduced before. And we ended explaining a little bit of a model, another novel that was written by a blockchain program developed by an Argentinian guy called Milton Laffer. And now it's such a man name. So you can buy the novel if you want, can be really fascinating. So with this knowledge, I will pass to the next chapter, where we studied a single network. So we introduce in general artificial networks or artificial networks. We describe what is single network, how it works. We provide, of course, an example. We use it to classify different types of sentences. And we illustrate how we can test this kind of systems. So we use concepts like epoch, a lot of concepts that we will use later in the next chapter. So in chapter 10, finally, we arrive to deep neural networks. We don't go into the mathematical methods, it's not the goal. The goal is to try to explain the structure, the architecture, of how these neural networks work. So we made the introduction, give a general description of this, the architecture, the role of the different layers, all that kind of stuff, how they have been used for text generation. And in this case, we employ several systems to illustrate the different approach that researchers have followed when they are using neural networks. Of course, we talk about transformers and GPT, but also we talk about some other research, like some of the work that Martin Dell and his student have been doing, Georgia Tech. So it's very difficult to see these different ways to use the neural networks. And of course, have to be a chapter of Chicago. That's my favorite chapter in the book, obviously. So we explain what is the cognitive account of creative writing that we use as a framework to develop the system. So based on this idea, I developed a computer model of the engagement and reflection cognitive account, which was instantiated as a program. The program is Mexica. So we explain how Mexica works, and some of the main characteristics, examples again, how it works. We talk about how Mexica is able to evaluate its own outputs, and how Mexica can collaborate with other Mexica agents to produce new stories. Then we arrive to the block where we analyze different systems. Again, this is not a review. It's not the goal of the book or these chapters to make a review. The goal is to just illustrate how there are a lot of different ways where we can use computer models to study knowledge, the generation of knowledge. So in the well, that's basically what I just said. Now we analyze in each chapter 7 different computer programs that exemplify this. So in chapter 12, we started with a system that Sheldon Clay developed in the 70s. So this is a really old system, but I think it's very effective. And basically, you can picture MESI as a programming language designed to produce stories. So that idea was introduced in the 70s by Clay Notion. Then we talk about a program called the Selective, developed by Tony. So we provide an explanation of how it works, but in essence, the system deploys repositories containing diverse data and carefully crafted by Tony, which is combining to develop stories. So you have these different spreadsheets where all these, a lot of information is there, and you can combine it using some rules and produce lots and lots of different stories. Then we have Riot, developed by Fox Current at MIT. So it's a platform for the generation of interactive narratives that employ templates. Here we can see how we can use templates together with some cognitive ideas like the conceptual blending theory that Fox uses to produce figurative narratives. And then we have a program developed by Pablo Hervas here, that is a system that does action in a chain game. So we have a chain check game, and the system with the information, and the checks this represent the different characters that take part in the story. And some interesting characteristic is that the program is able to relate the happiness on the board from different angles. So you can hear the story from the point of view of the princess, of the queen, sorry, of the king, of the towers, and so on. So these are a very interesting characteristic. And in chapter 13, we have Worship, developed by Nick Montfort at MIT. And the main goal of the idea is to represent in computer terms theories of narratology. So that's the main goal. So it's interesting to see how these different theories from different authors are represented here. We have a slant where we mix three systems. My system is Chica, version by Nick and Bria by Fox Harold. We put them together and we generate new narratives with different perspectives, different ways of telling stories using this element. Bria includes figurative language, which allows to say the story as a, for example, as a narration of a sport game, different styles. And basically, and finally, we have Daydreamer, which is also one of my favorite programs. It's a system that models the process of Daydreamer. Mueller studied a lot of theories about how Daydreamer humans work and used all these ideas to develop the code of this program. So Daydreamer represents a woman. She has a job. She's not involved in an amorous relationship, and she's romantically interested in having support. So the program starts today. If they go together, if he rejects her or the opposite, they get along together. So very interesting point. And of course, there are many other systems that we don't have the space to include. There are a lot which are very interesting and very valuable for the community. So we ended the book with this chapter. So at the beginning, we have a global view of the field. So basically, we put all the system on the table, and compare the future. As I mentioned before, the paper we published in 2004, those that free system, and it has been a popular paper. And we realized there are not other similar papers or material in the area. So we thought it was very important to have the opportunity to put all these things on the table and be able to compare and see the differences, similarities, and so on. So there are a lot of ways to generate narratives, not just big methods. There are a lot much more before that. And the main goal here is to be able to compare all that. Also, we have a section about humanistic automatic narrative generation. We mentioned different topics. Here I just will mention one of them. So we have created systems that generate narratives in a way we don't fully comprehend. How much does the lack of understanding of operation of this system, which we refer to as the effect of the mystery, influence the perception that people and some specialists have about the capabilities of this system? So it's something we reflect in this section, among other things. We suspect that the effect of the mystery contributes to some people making unsupported claims about computer programs. Now we have heard from the news a lot of claims that are too much. And then we finish, we end. So this book makes it possible to compare some of the many ways that researchers have characterized the automatic generation of narratives and to comprehend the core properties that distinguish this area of knowledge. And through the book, our aim has been to show how computer models could profoundly change the ways we see the process of writing and construct ourselves through stories. I hope you find the book interesting. I hope that you read it. If you have questions after you read it, we can talk. And I hope you find it. Thank you very much. Coffee break.
The next event is at 4 o'clock. This is the first plenary ahead. We're excited about that. And see that. Okay, let's give it a shot. So when I tried to run it on my one.
Yeah.
Okay, so to stop share. Okay, stop share. And then we will